Hi viewers. In the previous session we learned about how to enter the username password and click on login button, and whether it is successfully navigating to the next screen or not. That we have validated in the previous session. So now in this particular session what we will do is we will test the negative scenario whether it is working successfully or not. Okay, so in the negative scenario, see here only these four usernames are allowed in this particular screen. If you try to use some other ID like test user, something like this, I am going to give, and I am entering the valid password, but still it should not allow us to log in, right? Because it allows only these four username, but I am trying with some other value, so it should throw this error correctly, like two symbols, wrong symbol should display here in the username and password field, and this error message should get thrown like a big sad face, username and password do not match any user in this service. Okay, so this error message should get displayed. So right now what we are going to do is we are going to enter this test user and correct password. When we click on login, we are going to validate whether we are getting these symbols and this error message or not. Okay, so how we are going to do that one again? So in Selenium automation, the validation will be like we need to find the element and we need to read out the value. Okay, and we need to compare it. That is the validation we can do in the Selenium. Okay, so using inspect, we already know how to find the username field and password field. So now we need to find only these three elements, like this one, like star. Okay, so this one is SVG. So I think SVG will come under different category. This one, yeah. So right now in this course I will explain only about this epic sad face error message also, because this SVG we need to add different export. I will search in Google and I will explain in the next session. Okay, we will try in the session. If it works, then well and good. If not, I will try to explain in the next section. Okay, this SVG tag alone, I think export will not identify, I think, but I am not sure. Let's try. Okay, so this h3 tag we can find out. Okay, see, so inside the h3 we are having button. On this button is this error button. Okay, but this is the error message we need to validate. Okay, so this we will try to find out this element now. So how we need to write the export? Click on Ctrl F. So we are going to have one button. How many buttons you have in this entire HTML? Only one. Here you can see. We can directly go with this button export alone because we are having only one. But we may not be sure. In future they may add one more button in this particular screen. So that time it may get break, because that time it will become two buttons, so then duplicate will be there. So whenever you are writing the export, always prefer the unique way of finding the element. So better you can go with the attribute also. So that class is error button, right? No, this is error button is for only this I think this cross symbol. We can go with the h3. Yeah, so inside this, see, this h3 is the entire thing. So inside the h3 only we are having this button, that this cross symbol. So we need to find this message also, right? So we need to go with the h3 tag. Okay, h3 also we are having only one element, but still we will go with some attribute, that is at data test. Okay, equal to error. Okay, now we made sure this one is the correct one. Okay, the only element in this particular HTML element. Now we go and see after login. This is the previous session code, but still we can make use of it because anyhow we are going to login, right? We are going to click on the login button, so we can make use of this code also. After that, what we can do is, so instead of a standard user, I am going to use the test user now. Test user. So inside the else only login will fail, right? So inside this login failed, if it was successful, it will move to the inventory.html. So if it doesn't move to inventory.html, that means login failed. So in the login failed, we can write this code. Okay, whatever we are going to perform, we can write it here. So now we need to make sure these things are, so once the login is failed, that means something is wrong with the username and password. Okay, correct. So we need to check for this error message. So we need to find the element, web element, h3 element, right? So I will go with error message, feed, error message text, else error message element, we will go with element. Okay, driver dot find element by dot export. So the export will be h3 error. So once we get the error, now what we need to do is we need to get this value, epic surface username and password do not match any user in this service. So in order to get that h3 element, this is the value, right? h3 value you need to get means you need to call this error message element dot get text, you need to call. Okay, so I told you already, you need to come up with the correct method that you need to call for that particular web element. Web element has many methods like send keys, click, get text, and many more methods it has, but based on the field which you are working. So here, if you are working with the text field, you need to call the send keys to enter the value. If you are working with login button, any button, then you need to call the click method. If you are working with any text element, then you need to call the get text element. Okay, so now get text will return string, obviously it will return string. So now I'll give it as error message. So this is the actual error message. Okay, let me give as actual error message. Okay, so whenever you are comparing you are doing some verification, right, you will be having expected and actual. Okay, now expected error message, we need to have the expected error message. What we are going to see, as per design, this is the error message we are expecting. See, from development point of view, you need to think for the expected error message. Okay, see this, according to the development requirement, if we enter any invalid username or password, so expected error message should be this one. Okay, epic surface username and password do not. So this is the development requirement, that is the expected error message. So this is the actual means after we enter test user and password, when you click on login, actually what we are getting. So as per requirement, this is the expected one, but after we are providing invalid username and password, if we click on login, what is the actual thing we got in the screen, whether the development has done correct or not. Okay, that is the actual one. So now we are getting actual one, we are finding it through the element error message element, and we are getting the text, and we are going to verify this one. So expected error message dot equals actual error message or not. Okay, if it equals, then we can print as error message validation is successful. Okay, else error message validation is failed. Okay, now we will try to run this code. Now we are entering test user. See, we are entering test user, and when we click on login button, we are getting error message, and we are trying to read that error message. See, after we are trying to, after clicking on the login button, we are trying to get the current URL, right? So now the current URL will be still source demo.com, because it was not, now it doesn't move to the next screen. Okay, so only we are getting the same URL. Okay, after that correctly it was printing, because we are verifying whether this after login URL contains inventory.html. No, it will not contain that inventory.html. So that means login is failed. So we are entering into the else path correctly. So our expectation is working correctly. It was getting into login failed condition, and here we are getting the error message element. Okay, now the error message element, we are getting the text, that is the actual error message is this one, epic surface username. Now we are comparing this actual error message with the our expected this is the requirement document. From the requirement document we have taken the expected error message. Okay, so we are comparing whether the development has done correctly or not, whether in the UI they have provided the correct, and we enter with the invalid password your username, it was throwing correct error message or not. Okay, so we are comparing these two things, and we made sure it was equal, so only we are getting error message validation is successful. Okay, we will try to print the actual error message also. Okay, before error message is successful, we know what is the expected error message, but we'll try print the actual error message also, so only will come to know what error message from UI we got it. Okay, I'm running a line. So now go and check. See, actual error message in UI is epic surface username and password do not match any user in this service. So this is exactly the same thing which we expected. Okay, so only the comparison is true, and we are entering into this if condition, and error message validation is successful. Okay, if suppose I has to print here actual error message, once you get the actual error message, I am printing it here. Okay, then I am comparing the actual with the expected. Okay, then only I am providing this thing. Okay, so let's say according to the requirement, it should not, the validation message should be different, like simply they are expecting username and password is wrong. So this is what they provide in the requirement document, like either username or password is wrong. Okay, this is the expected error message they provide in the requirement document. Okay, now let's see what happens. See, now error message validation failed because in the requirement document what they are expecting is either username and password is wrong, but in the actual error message what we got is epic surface enter username and password do not match any user in this. So when we compare these two, either username and password is wrong with this one, it will not get matched, so we will get the else part, failed part 20. So now the development team has done the mistake, like instead of providing either username or password is wrong, this error message they should have provided here, but instead they are given this error message. So we can, this is the validation we are doing. Okay, understood, I think. According to the requirement, now the condition is from the business requirement either username and password is wrong, that is the error message they should throw in this UI, but instead they have thrown this error message. By mistake they have copied this error message, I mean the previous error message or something like that they have copied here, but according to the requirement this is the new error message that should get thrown. Okay, so I hope now understood like what validation we need to do as part of automation, because that is the main thing while doing automation. We should know what we need to automate, how we need to validate or verify. Okay, what are all the things we need to verify, those things. And one more thing here we can do the validation is this button, right? Let's do that one. Okay, I will explain that one in the next lecture. Okay, so in this one if you have any doubt please ask me. Thank you.